How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video. It's me, Cam from Cam's Cobbin, and welcome back to another Chelsea video, another Chelsea match review. Now, the game I'll be talking about today is pretty obvious. It is the West-Brom 3, Chelsea 3 score result, which happened yesterday. Usually with these games, I just like to leave a day, get some sleep on it, so I don't, rash and say things stupid. And that's just correct, and just don't let the emotions override you. So today, hopefully, I'm going to be talking about 5 points why we drew against West Brom. And overall, just before we get into the video, if you're new here, I'm Cam, this is Cam's Cobbin. I do daily Chelsea transfer news videos. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So before I get into the main points, I'd like to say, it was a 3-3 game. And overall, before we talk about the points, it's a game. Football is a game of hindsight. I'd like to point out that I think any Chelsea fan at half-time, if you offered them, when you're 3-0 down, would you take a 3-3 draw? And they'd all say yes. But once the game finishes at 3-3, you think, well, we should have beaten the team and all this. But I just want to say, firstly, on the surface, it showed heart and desire. I don't think it would have got to 3-3 last year, so it shows improvement. And just a little stat, no Premier League team has come back from a 3-3 loss at half-time to either draw or win the game, so there's that. Now moving on to the first reason, and that is, for me, mistakes. Silly defensive mistakes. Now, the whole reason we were 3-0 down within 30 minutes is 3 silly defensive errors. They only had 3 shots on target the whole game, and they scored every single one. Chelsea had more, and I'll come to that later. For the first goal, it is pretty obvious who's at fault, and that is Marcos Alonso. What is he doing there? All our Chelsea players who come under scrutiny somehow like to get more scrutinised. Kepa likes to give goals to Mane, and Alonso likes to give goals to West Brom. You don't head it there, you clear it, you do whatever, you just don't do what Marcos Alonso did. And for the second goal, Thiago Silva was a bit poor from him. I think he had a good game, but apart from a mistake leading to goal, you're brought in for experience and to kind of help our defence, but that's not really a role model, just having big touches, giving it away. Second goal. And for the third goal, again, Marcos Alonso's at fault. Who's he marking? This is Chelsea Football Club, and you're ball watching from a corner. Who are you marking? It's just absolutely ridiculous, and just will separate us from the rest of the pack if we actually want to challenge for the title. They are problems, and they need to be rectified. The easy fix, of course, is Ben Chilwell coming in. And the easy fix for Thiago Silva is I don't think he will do something like that again. But if he does, we have a plethora of good defenders to sub him out. But apart from that, I think Marcos Alonso, if you're going to just 2 goals in the Premier League, for your fault, you just shouldn't be in the team. So, yeah, that's my first thing. Reason number 2, and this is lack of clinicality. We have 2, I don't want to be I praise them highly, but we have one of the 2 best strikers in the league. They're both in the top 10 in my opinion, and Tammy Abraham had a glorious chance. Reece James whips in such a good area in the danger zone. You couldn't get a more perfect ball, and he just skies it over the bar. At that time it was 1-0, and if he actually took that chance 1-1, I don't think they would have scored the other 2 goals. But again, football doesn't work like that, and you can't talk about that. As for Timo Werner, again, Mason Mount cut it back. Whole goal to aim at, and he hit the top of the crossbar. He's not Leandro Trossard, who's hitting every post left, right, and centre. He's Timo Werner, and he should be doing better than that. Now, you could argue in the first half, yes, we were 3-0 down and all that. That's really bad. But how come we can score goals in the second half and not the first? It doesn't really make sense, and it's really a main pivotal factor in why we didn't play very well and we only drew. Finally, for box number 3 is Lampard's poor team selection. Now, in the match preview, I was talking about how you should play Callum Hudson-Odoi because he's our only true out-and-out winger. We'll come on to that later. That would have probably helped. And looking back at it, Thiago Silva and Christensen, it wasn't that bad, but I mean, where was Zuma? And mainly, where was Chilwell? To not even have him in the squad is a big problem, because if he was on the subs bench, he could have come on at half-time. Although Aspilicueta did a stellar job, Marcos Alonso should not have started. I think Emerson should have started over Marcos Alonso, and yeah, that is just a very poor selection from him. Just to get, I know Mason Mount had a sick game, but we need out-and-out wingers to play wing, and Callum Hudson-Odoi came on and changed the game, in my opinion. There have been a lot of people scrutinising, saying, "Oh, he has no experience, it's his fault why we drew," but I don't see how 3 individual errors is his fault, apart from the selection, is why I brought it up. Before I'm going to stop talking about why we lost 3 goals, we're going to start about talking the good thing, the positive things, and why we scored 3. And first of all, I touched on it at the start, is the mentality and the fighting spirit. I think, although we drew, but I think we wouldn't have got this draw last year. Yes, we've spent millions of pounds, and we probably should be better than we were last year. And yes, we spent £1 million on players who didn't actually score, and we had to rely on our academy. However, it does show heart, and I'm going to reiterate this stat I made at the start. No team has come back from a 3-0 deficit, so you can't complain about that. The problem is about letting in the goals. And moving into number 5, I'm just going to be talking about the players I think played well. And for me, I have to say Christensen had a really good game. Apart from rugby tackling people, he was okay against Liverpool. He was good against Brighton, and I think he was very good against West-Brom yesterday. He actually played better than Thiago Silva, and I think his pace and passing was very useful. He was literally driving up, looked like he was going to have a shot most of the time. But yeah, I think that's improvements to see. It's good to see your centre-backs playing well. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think, played really well. He actually, not just him, but he changed the game. He got on the score sheet, and that's why I kind of wanted him to start, because he's now an out winger. But yeah, he did change the game and played very well. And of course, Mason Mount and Kai Havertz played really well. Mason Mount getting the goal, Kai Havertz getting the assist. Just Kai Havertz doing the things that, you know, rival fans won't really see because they're not really paying attention to the game. But he kept the ball moving, did loads of passes, loads of intricate through balls, and got the assist for Callum Hudson-Odoi's goal. And as for Mason Mount, there's a reason why I put him in my team as well, because his work ethic is so vital to our pressing game and why we won. His goal was just a touch of brilliance, because without that, I don't think we would have got our goals, because it's kind of snowballed effect from there, and is why that goal, just the technique was amazing, and is why we got to 3-3. So they're the players I think I did sick. And to summarise, no, it's not a good performance overall. The second half was good, but the first half, you can't make those mistakes at this high level. It's a very big problem. It needs to be rectified. So yeah, that has been the video. I like, talking about in more depth rather than ranting about all over the place. So yeah, I know it's been a long video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.